Okay, folks, we're back again, trying to wake up a little bit. And as much as I'd like to go back and work on the house, now I've got these tanks in front of me, so I'm going to try to wrap these guys up as quick as I can, put them off to the side. There's no point in stopping at this point where they are. So I did very little work off camera, but I did do some. So this is the two KVs, and let's see. I may actually have to let's use the heavy readers. There we go. That should be able to do. I'm trying to use the glasses a little bit more than just taking the contacts out, because I am really going to mole mode when I when I take the contacts out. I really just can't see anything. I got to get my face all up in the computer to be able to make anything out. So, trying to avoid doing that. Don't have a whole lot left to do on this one. Okay, we've got the other KV turret. And then we're going to have to make a decision on the KV1 turret. We could probably do that live. I can look at my reference books and decide on which version I'm going to do. But this comes with the separate KV2 turrets. So we're going to do that. The thing is that I can make two different versions of the KV1. Where's that little bit of sandpaper? The sandpaper that's backed up by... Hey, Marcus, welcome back. I decided to finish these guys up instead of just putting them away, and I don't want to put them away. Next thing you know is I'm missing a part or something like that. So we're going to take a look at this, and we're also going to decide what I'm going to do about the applique armor on the KVs. Nice models. Wow, it's a wide tank, or maybe that's the camera. It's the camera. It's the camera. I don't know. Maybe the turret actually looks really narrow, because I'm used to seeing it with the applique armor on it. I went and had my car serviced, and one of the things that I decided to look up was learn a little bit about the KV, and I've got conflicting information. So when I get conflicting information off the internet, it starts becoming suspect. What was conflicted about it is it said it was a four-man turret, a four-man crew, but a three-man turret, which doesn't make any sense because it's got a gunner and a home machine gunner. So I'm not sure how you can have a four-man crew and three of them are in the turret, but yet the driver is trying to drive and man the machine gun in the hole. So that doesn't make any sense. That's obviously wrong. So we're going to have to do a little bit more research on that with actual books, not just hearsay on the internet. And also said the commander was the loader, which is unusual that the commander would be the loader on this tank, but yet he'd be the gunner on a T-34. You know, I'm not saying it's not right, but when something's suspect, you know, it's just weird. Why would a two-man turret tank like the T-34-76 have the commander as the gunner, but when you add an extra figure in the turret, he becomes a loader. It just doesn't make any sense. Hey, Barnes, welcome back. So one thing, if the internet hasn't taught us the last couple years, is when something doesn't seem right, check your sources. Or as Tick would say, but is that really the case? So after we put this thing together, we're going to look that up. It's the applique armor on the hull that worries me, because I want to put the applique armor on the hull, but I also want it to be interchangeable with the KV2 turret. And it may be a situation that the KV2 turret never had, the KV2 didn't have the applique armor on the hull, and then I'm going to have to make a decision. Now, see, this one actually fits. Nope, it has the same problem the other one does. I watched several things on the KVs, and they didn't this morning, and it didn't resolve the issue. So I've got my reference books that I haven't cracked open yet. I trust them a lot better than stuff on the internet. Although I don't necessarily think Wikipedia's inaccurate. It is if you're trying to do, something that's political or current events or something like that. But something that happened, 70 years ago should be pretty accurate. All right. I'm going to drop this in here. Get our Bubba Rand. Because I do want to go back to painting the house, but I didn't want to just throw this back in a box now with the pieces being loose. There we go. And we want this to go over here. Okay, this should suffice for now. Putting that all together. Okay. What's left there? Applique armor. We got the two machine guns. Those are kind of a given. And one of the things that I was reading about the KV2 production is it basically got stopped, not because the KVs weren't effective, and not because they were deemed too expensive compared to the T-34. The T-34 could, the Soviets thought they could do anything that the KVs did at a reduced cost, plus they had additional mobility, which is kind of, you know, I don't necessarily agree with that. But one of the things that happened is when they moved the factories, when the factories got moved out to the Ural Mountains, basically when the Soviets packed up their factories and moved them out of strike range of the German assault, the KV-2s weren't restarted. And I think it said they built like 200 of them or something like that. I don't know. That, which is not very big numbers if in the standpoint of Soviet production numbers. However, I was reading the account, assuming it's accurate, that I read recently about the Battle of Kursk, and I mentioned it on here before, that hold on a second, that's the wrong one. That one of the assaults that they did on the northern salient, the counter assault that the Soviets did in, I guess that would be mid-July, was led by 50 KV-2s, which that's a lot of KV-2s, and July of 43 is very late for them to be in use. So assuming that is accurate, they must have stockpiled them somewhere, and they got decimated. They got blown to bits. But they did use them to push on the northern part of the salient to help stop the German advance in the opposite direction towards the south. It struck me as kind of a unique situation. You know, even using KV-2s in 1942 is kind of late. It's pretty much a 1941 weapon. At least when they're fighting the Germans. Okay. And we've got like a little headlight or something like that, which is this piece right here. Headlamp. I didn't put that on the other one. I had to scoot this morning. And then we'll go check our references, decide what we're going to do about the applique armor. Good afternoon, Glenn. Wow. Okay, and then the other headlamp that we didn't put on. What did we get left in the box? KV-2 parts? Okay, parts that had fallen off in transit. Here's the headlamp of the other one. Ah, shit. This has a hatch you can make it open, but there's no bar that holds it open. What I mean by that is this hatch, when it opens, it's behind you. It opens behind you. And there's no piece that attaches between the actual hatch and here to hold it open. Why would they do that? Now, I don't want to assume to close it. I might have a cool tank commander to put in there, at least in one of them. I'm not so interested in doing any KV2. I think the KV2, I just vacuumed this, so it should be easy to find. These parts are extremely slippery. Wow, it went a long way away. It's always these parts that are roundish. There we go. Put that in there before something happens. Okay, so all we got left is the hatches, whether we have to decide to do the applique armor or what have you. So let's learn about these vehicles. I'm gonna pull out a T-34 out here so you can see it side by side. Actually, here's the T-34 hull. It's a T-34-85 hull. This is 1/72nd scale. So now you can compare an apples to oranges. Okay, it does look bigger than a T-34. It's just not that much bigger. A turret just seems pretty narrow. Alright, let me grab my reference book on the Soviets. We'll go there first. Let me find it first and then grab it. That's British and American tanks in World War II, not that one. Not the German one. It's kind of greenish. Let's lose this. That is really strange. It's not where it's supposed to be. Wonder if I put it back somewhere else where it's supposed to go. No, 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 no. Okay. It's not. Yes, it's down here where it should not be. Chieftain has good videos on all major tank doctrine, Soviet one might be World of Tanks YouTube channel. Okay. This is the my go-to book that has the most detailed stuff on here. And we're going to go to KVs. Lots of stuff on T28s. Let's tighten this, rotate it. Yeah, this has a lot more detail than anything else I would possibly have. Lots of stuff on T35s, for instance. All right, so let's go to KV2. KV1, sorry. Could just use the index, but hey, I don't roll that way. All right, we're gonna have to use. I mean, I know what order they were made in. I don't know why that wouldn't be in there. Let's see. Yeah, well, that table of contents is useless. It has chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, right? So look for the KVs and then stop there. All right, here we go. Man, it's a lot farther along than I thought. It's after the T34s. I would have put them before them. There's a lot of really good information in here. I didn't realize it was. Okay, Stalingrad. This is T34s. This is T34s. This is T34s. Okay, KV1 tank model 1940. That's what this is supposed to be. It has a model L11 gun, right? It's the shorter gun. It's the shorter gun than normal. The early one. It was armed with a L11 and 3 or 4 DT machine guns. Easy to tell from later series. It has a tank gun with a very short barrel. I wouldn't call that very short. And the cast mount cover was tilted from top to bottom. They have pictures of KVs and the text is for T34s. There's July 41 photo of a KV-1 heavy tank. Looks like it doesn't have the applique arming. And looks like it has the short barrel. From a lot built at the beginning of the year, it's become stuck and had to take 38 hits as far as can be seen in battle with German anti-tank defenses. These two close-up photos again show the effects of shots on the armor of the 1940 model KV-1. The turret sides and rear had 75mm armor plate. And it doesn't have the applique armor. But it does have it on the hull part. Okay, that's interesting. What I want to know is if the KV2 had that applique armor on it. Here's some pictures of the KV-2. None of these have additional armor plate on the front. This one that's upside down doesn't look like it has it. So you got pictures of KV2, 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 text here describing these pictures. All of this text in here talks about 23045. Like, what's wrong with you people? This picture, large rear hatch and the massive turret for the KV-2 heavy tank can be seen. It was open to load the 36 shells and cartridges for the heavy tank gun. That must mean it was two separate pieces of ammunition. Here's another KV-2, has no front applique armor. There was an earlier version of 230 of the KV that had a different turret, and I've never seen a picture of it. I have a feeling that one was used more like in Finland. Yeah, because of the heavy turret and the two-piece ammunition for the howitzer, the fire of the KV-2 was rather ponderous. The gun was aimed and fired only from the standstill. One thing that's noticeable on the KV-2 is it looks like every single one of these, or most of these, have these grab handles on the side of the turret. The model doesn't include it. You could probably put them on with staples. Here it is. This is the early turret. And this one does not look like it has a whole machine gun, which is true of some of the 1939 model KVs. There's a KV-1 with added turret. All right, let's get the text. So it looks like some of the KVs that had the added turret armor on the turret, all of them had the added armor on the front of the hull, but some had the armor on the front of the hull and not the one on the turret in some of these pictures. And none of the KVs I've seen a picture have it on the hull. Okay, now we're here. Now somehow it's made the transition to the KVs on text-wise. Let's see what we got here. Talking about the T100, SMK. In the winter war against Finland, 2 KV tanks also saw service. Having been sent directly to the front from the factory in Leningrad, the KV tank was a third of the project's proposed 1938, differed from the other 2 test models and having only 1 turret. So different from the T100 and SMK, since kind of the proving ground in Finland in the Winter War. The front testing of the 2 pre-series tanks in Finland was so convincing that on December 19, 1939, its introduction to the armored troops could be authorized. Series production began in the summer of 1940, and that year 141 tanks of the type were completed. KV tanks built before the beginning of 1941 had armor almost 75 millimeters thick, which offered reliable protection against the fire from anti-tank guns, even from very close range. Angular turret heralded the L11 tank gun and a roller mantlet and a coax 7.62 millimeter DT machine gun. Another machine gun of that type was in a ball mount at the rear of the turret. A third machine gun, likewise in a ball mantlet, was mounted in the front of the hull. This was the basic arrangement of the weapons. In 1940-41, a total of 330 KV-2 and KV-2A tanks were built at the Kirov Works in Leningrad. The KV-2A was an improved version which could be recognized externally by the modified roller mantlet. During 1941, KV production was halted. You know, this is supposed to be a really detailed book, and there's stuff in here that isn't in other places, but man, it's disjointed and all over the place. The production statistics for tanks of the KV series are as follows. So in 1940, they made 141 KV-1s. Yeah, there's wrong information in this book for sure. It says here KV-1Ss 334 were made. KV-1Ss didn't come out until like 1942. All right, we're not going to look in here anymore. Bad book. It's a German author. Why would a German author be making a book on Russian tanks? Just saying. All right. That didn't get us anywhere. We got other stuff here though. And if not, we'll just make an executive decision. Okay, here we go. I know I have 2 other ones. Here's one. All right. These are the other 2 books I have here. Soviet Heavy Tanks and by Osprey, and Stalin's Heavy Tanks 41-45. Okay, and here's a tank like the ones I'm building right here. Okay, right here on the cover. We have the turret without the applique armor, but then you have the additional hull armor here on it. If I could find that the KV2s had that additional armor here, then I'm saved. because I will just put that on it and then just, I'm good to go. But it doesn't look like that was the case. All right, let's see if we can get some definitive information here. This is a relatively old book, even though it is done by Stephen Zaliga, 1981. Here's another KV2, does not have the applique armor on the front. Here's another KV1. See, it's got the applique armor on the front, but not on the turret. So if I want a hole that I can use for both, and I can sleep at night, I won't put it on there. Because I'll know. Okay, the standard KV1 Model 39, so the model that was before this one, was armed with a short barrel. I mean, it's not really that short. The shortest barrel, L11. It's not an 11 caliber, just the gun is called L11. The later one was called an F32. If it was 11 caliber, yes, it would be like an infantry gun. It would be like, you know, a third as long as this, but I forget what caliber this thing is. Probably like a 36 caliber or something like that. Maybe even a 40. Mounted in a low-slung pig snout mantlet. A small pre-series batch was built without the ball-mounted hull machine gun. Okay. So it would not have the bow machine gun there. The L11 was a stopgap until the improved F32 became available. The model KV1 Model 1940, which is this one, was essentially similar, but was armed with an F32 and a new mantlet. Okay, well, some of these have the L11. This is the L11 gun. In the spring of 1941, an outcome of Kulik's contention, the Germans were up-armoring and up-arming their tanks. It was decided to begin a crash program to up-armor the KV-1. Since the factories were not capable of handling any thicker armor, it was decided to attach applique plates to the turrets with large rivets. These were sometimes called KV-1 Ekranami, so KV-1E, and that's what it came from, that name, Ekranami, literally KV-1 with screens, and are referred to here as KV-1 Model 1940 applique. Well, that makes sense. These 35mm applique plates were riveted to the turret with narrow spacing to better combat certain new AP rounds. They were most noticeable on the turret sides and front, although later batches had panels on the hull sides both above and below the fender line, and had splash strips added around the turret ring. Benjamin Christensen, welcome. Production details of KV2 somewhat parallel those KV1. The KV Model 41 cast turret weighed about 47 tons, had a 5-man crew. Commander / loader. Yeah, the commander was a loader, according to this. Gunner, driver, radio operator, hull machine gunner, and assistant driver mechanic. The driver sat in the center of the hull, slightly to the right. When driving outside the combat area, you could use a small hatch could be latched up. How strange. How strange the commander doubled as the loader in this vehicle, but with a 3-man turret. But the T-34, the commander was the gunner himself, primarily. How strange. I'm telling you, communists never make any sense to me. Okay, here's an up-armored one. And there's the additional plate on the front of the armor. Here's one again. It has the additional thick plate on the front. I bet every KV2 we see, all of these have it. All of these have that extra plate on the front. Well, you can't tell if this one has it or not because it's the back of it showing. Now, if you look at a KV2, which looks like they don't have a color plate of it here. I've yet to see a KV2 with that extra plate on it. That's gonna be interesting. No, I think what I'm going to do then is I'm going to have to make an executive decision, and I'm not going to add it to the hull, but I am going to add it to the. Is that really what I want to do? I mean, nobody's going to care except me. Geez, give me a picture with a KV2. Here we go. Here's one. Doesn't have the plate on the front. Here's one, doesn't have the plate on the front. Doesn't have the plate. Well, if these models were more readily available, I'd buy another set of these, and I would make 2 of them without the plate on the front, and those would run as the KV2s whenever I used them. The other 2 would have the applique on the front, and I'd always run them as KV1s. And I'd do the other ones that I could switch out also, but since the model isn't readily available, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the KV2 turrets. I'm not going to add the applique armor here or the bolt-on stuff on the turrets and move back to the house. I think that's what I'm going to do at this point. Right. Yeah, it just shows you how much wrong information there is. There can be conflicting information on sources. That's why God gave you a brain. Use it. Try to figure things out. Political offers probably interfere with the design and function of the tech. No doubt. A political officer, also known as somebody who does not use common sense. What is this big nasty thing? This has got to be the cannon. Got to be the cannon. How does it fit on this thing? These things fit together really tight. It's just the plastic is super slippery. Super slippery. Even this turret seems really narrow. I can't guarantee that I'm going to put these little steps on there. It's a little bit anal retentive for me. They weren't on every. I mean, I like how they look, but probably would use staples and just, you know, cut them down and bend them or whatever size you need. You know, it's relatively easy to make steps like that. Steps, handles, standles. See how we're looking fit and finish on here. It's a pretty tight fit. All right, what else goes in there, inside of there? Get the pieces that fell off here. Big old back hatch. It took me a long time to find this particular kit. A long time. Okay, this just slides behind it like this. Wow, it's almost like a snap fit kit. This is going to fit like so. I had some of these in micro armor, but that's it. Never had this vehicle anything else. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to have to order more of this stuff. Or put some beads or something in here to raise the level of this, of the cement. Oh, you know what? I read about something. Recently. Let's see if I can do this. I saw somebody did this. Oh, that wasn't it. No, you can actually pull this thing out a little bit. And now we can reach it better. It does work. I don't know why they just wouldn't have defaulted to it being that way. Happy Saturday, Mr. Wardrobe. The Wardrobe. And this barrel already comes pre-drilled for your happiness. Although it looks like it may have some flash there on the end. But before we go and do something, what glue? This is the Tamiya Thin, which they don't carry it in my local store anymore. Just like everything else, you find something that works great, next time you go to buy it, it's not available anymore. You got to get it through Amazon. And then people complain, why buy everything through Amazon? Well, why do stores have to discontinue shit? You know, I like supporting my stores, but if they're not going to carry the products that I want, you know. See if I can find a picture of yeah, it's flush. It doesn't have that flash on there. That is flash, or it looks like it. You're a local hobby store and almost bought the Cobra battle set from Italy in 1/72. Need to finish a couple projects first before I buy it. Is 1/72 your scale? The one true scale, as somebody used to say on the miniatures page. Back when people get all riled up about everything. My favorite one is still, and I don't know who it is. I haven't been on there in years. Anything larger than 20 millimeters playing with dollies. People came unglued. I think it's hilarious. You laugh about stuff. And that was back then when people had some thicker skin. Oh, you guys know each other? Yeah, Nordic's a regular. He's an irregular regular. He comes on here and we solve all the world's problems. Okay, we're good there. Man, I'm loving this getting back into World War II stuff. I've been away way too long. Marcus, I didn't know you left. Yeah, we got a good group of folks that are on here. There's 3 or 4 of you guys almost always on when I'm on. I greatly appreciate that. It keeps me on task doing this kind of stuff. You're a problem solver. Most people are fixers. Most people, that's what we do for a living, is we fix things. Boomba. Actually seems like a really long weapon, to be honest with you. I thought it was like, it just doesn't seem like it's that long. Something seems to be amiss. Let's see what we got here. This is a weird book. I thought this book was better than it was. I start looking through it. It has all kinds of wrong shit in it. Casting doubt on things. All right, give me a KV2. That seems like an awfully long barrel for a KV2. Now that I'm looking at it, it does seem kind of long. Okay, well, we'll go with it. Well, I'm playing a really tactical game, so it's likely that if you have a KV2 in a game, it may take a while to put another round in it. It may take quite a few actions. But that's the kind of scope of game I like to play. If you used to play something like Command and Decision, it just fires once every turn, and other things fire twice, so it fires half as much. But in reality, this is a very slow firing weapon. But man, a blast radius 152 is nothing to sneeze at. We're going to leave the hatches in non-decision mode. See what this thing looks like on the hull. It doesn't look that big. Honestly, it doesn't look that big. That's a pretty cramped turret, honestly. It does seem kind of long. Oh, this thing's more girth than anything else. Does she say that too? Yes, this is that kind of channel. We make fun of everything. It's old school. Pre-2008. I think that's the year that my brother said everything went to shit. People started getting all defensive about stuff, not being able to laugh at themselves and other people. All right, let's put this thing together as well, and then we can move on to the Normandy house. I actually had no intention of putting this together, but it just kind of happened. I had limited amount of time this morning, and I didn't feel like working in the house. By the time I got rolling on, I have to leave to go take the car in for service, routine maintenance. PM, preventative maintenance. Okay. Okay, this has hatches and applique armor. Hatches and applique armor. This goes back in the boxes. And these come in the good boxes, which are the top loading boxes. I don't like the ones that open on the side. Stuff can just fly out of there and you don't even know it. And we'll go ahead and put the instructions in here for good measure as well. And I don't know why these are not available anymore. This particular model. They make the 1941. That one's available. The KV-1S is also available. And that one you just can't, nobody has them. It took a long time to get a hold of one of these. I always thought the KV-2 turret invited all the enemy fire to hit it. Yeah, it's as big as a person standing. You think the Soviets got specifically small people to fit in a tank? Actually, they're communists. They probably did something sick like, we get the biggest guys in tank, make them nice and uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure that if you're in the Soviet armed forces, they didn't give too much of a crap about you. I did not know that the commander is the loader in a KV-1 turret. That makes no sense. When he's the gunner in a T-34. Yeah, and Soviet Russia, all kinds of problems. In Soviet Russia, dog takes you for a walk. I bet nobody complains about, I bet there's no video complaining the people that build Soviet tank. Nobody wants to play the Soviets because they don't want to be considered a communist. That kind of stuff just wasn't around before. I don't know what happened. Must be in the water. Well, their wives deserve walking time too. That's right. Okay. That's easy to put upside down. Now, I was able to extend the tip on this, just like the one guy in the video said. There's some true things out there on the internet. Go figure. There's some truths. I can play Soviets, I can do outrageous accent, wear one of their furry hats. I don't want to wear the furry hat because I get hot easily, but yeah, of course you got to do the funny accent. Same thing with the Japanese. I don't want to play Japanese and not do funny accents. That's why that's one of the reasons I don't like playing Americans. No funny accents. Boring. Outrageous, yes. Outrageous is... Oh, there's actually some room for rotating this up and down. I'm honestly surprised a little bit. You could do a deep Southern accent. You could. Or you could sound like somebody from Boston. Ooh. Mr. Ben, welcome back. We're almost done here, and then we can go back to Normandy. Man, this thing likes to go airborne. It's so slippery. Not really sure why this particular gun barrel has ridges in it. Seem like they're awfully prominent, and they shouldn't be. But we're not going to go and buy an aftermarket barrel. That's a bit much. I'll have to go club and or shoot you if you did the Boston accent. Yeah, nobody likes that. I don't know what it sounds like on a female, though, to be honest with you. Probably doesn't make him sound more attractive. I'm just guessing. Okay, now we can see how this fits on here. Okay, and here's what you can do. You get 4 turrets and 2 hulls, so you can switch these things out as you need them. Tony gets the worst of the accent stuff every time somebody tries to pronounce Vallejo. Yeah, I don't know why some people just have trouble with Spanish words. I mean, 2 L's is a Y, you know? Vallejo. Mm-hmm. There's a town in California called that. I wonder how the hell they pronounce it there. Probably wrong. Okay, let's put these guys away. And when we do our next tanks, those will be the first tanks to do. Oh, here's a good example. So we got a KV2, 1/72 scale. We pull out these T-35s that I have over here. They're 1/87. They still look fine. I mean, yeah, this would be even bigger. But, you know, it still looks like a big tank. You know, you can't beat these for like $1 a piece. That's why I got them. Just put all the heavies in one. That makes sense. Yeah, pretty sure all those are gonna have slogans. Fascist mothers wear combat boots. Well, they probably do. But so do communist mothers, unless they don't have any shoes. Which, that could also be the case. All right. They put me on a FODMAPs diet due to intestinal issues. It helps my poor taste buds are neglected. FODMAPs. Problem with mine every day, crap ton I feel. Cyborg bodies. Speaking of blow up dolls. Oh wait, I'm talking about that. Okay. Never mind. How to write kraut cooker. There's some funny, there's some funny names out there. There's like I think one tank. I think it's a T-34-85 that had an all-female crew, and it was called like Russian Girlfriend or something like that. Which actually sounds like it'd be the way that's pronounced or something like that sound like it would be like a Japanese movie or something like that. Yeah. Battle babes knocking out fascist tanks. Okay, so this is where we're at right now on the happy house. This old house. How does the building scale with the figures you have? Are the doors the right height? Yeah, I think so. How about I bring some figures out here you can determine? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so, considering he's a little taller because he's got the thickness of the penny, and then there's also a magnet on it. I think it's spot on. The only thing that's a little tight, more than a little tight, is the hallways here. This hallway leads to the stairs. You got to walk up that sideways for sure. You saw a Facebook post about that girlfriend tank about 10 minutes ago. Yeah. I wonder which one of the tank crew was his girlfriend. Or you get one, you want one girlfriend, you get four, and you get five, and they have their way with you. Not that kind of movie. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good scale-wise. So, let me take a look at this brick and see if I'm happy with it. I think I am. I don't want it to be stand out. I don't want it to be red. I do not want red brick where something looks like New England. And it's a little bit more washed up than it normally is. See this, the wood that's around this window? The white is where we want it. The other one, it looks like gray. We're gonna paint that in a wooden color, just to add a little bit of color there. I think that'll add a little oomph. We'll try it on this one first and see how we like it. We managed to get only 5 attractive Soviet female tankers. It's quite a few attractive, maybe not in the 1940s, but there's plenty of attractive Russian women now. Okay, let's use this as my palette. And I'm not going to use craft paint for this. I'm going to use beige brown. Let's get all these things that we don't want accidentally getting any paint on them, which will just create extra work for me. It's unnecessary. You like their accents. I don't know that I've had that much exposure to them. Let's see. Let's break this one out. Get a little black. Yeah, I've also have, and I don't know who the manufacturer is, of the little, what I like to use is my barn. I'll pull it out of here in a second. And it's a 15 millimeter model. I don't remember who the hell makes it, but I use it for 20s. And actually I have one more building. Is this it? No. I have another building around here that's actually a Mexican building. I'm going to use it as an Italian building. It's also 15 millimeter scale. This thing is, man, this thing is bright. After looking at this wall color. It's well painted. It's just the wrong damn color. So we're probably going to give it a wash or something. You know, if this was a 15 millimeter building, you're never going to be able to reach that window to ever open it. So I use this as kind of like a little barn or whatever. So it's going to be part of the potential complex here. We may come back and repaint the windows and stuff, so it all kind of goes together. But man, that thing's bright. Still looks better than them damn paper buildings. I won't be buying any more of those. Girls und Panzer. Yeah, Japanese are weird. They're really, really weird. They're into eccentric crap. It's like a school or something like that, right? That competes with tanks. Do they fire live ammunition at each other? Big Bird's house. Yeah, that's right. I don't think the Big Bird could fit in that door, though. Big Bird would have to bend over. I know, I should stop saying that. You're going to get excited. Bending Big Bird over. Don't do an internet search for that. You're probably going to get something you don't want. Those of you guys that do American Civil War, is it like a year you guys like to do, or you just kind of just do generic stuff? Like, I build my stuff for, 1862 or something like that, not for 64, because 64 is in balance. Or does that even figure into other things? Now let's do one that has a window on it. I'm just going to paint everything on this here. It's pretty obvious I'm going to use. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the door in the same color, even if I come back and paint it something a little bit different. If it was a shop, I'd do like a brighter colored door, but I don't know that I'm going to do something wild colored. That's not going to look right. ACW again, I do the 7 days campaign. Is there few colorful regiments still only armies? 7 days campaign. Educate me. What is that? I don't know anything about that. (1962) Peninsula battles. Okay. So relatively early. Malvern Hill, Wire Oak Swamp, Seven Pines. Name a few. Seven Pines sounds vaguely familiar, but I haven't heard of the other ones. But I'm not an expert on that. But if I haven't heard it, the general public certainly hasn't heard of it either. Because Iron Brigade. Where was the Iron Brigade from? They weren't Irish, were they? Irish had their own units, I think. The Iron Brigade wasn't really colorful though, was it? It was just maybe colorful as far as personality. White, not wire. Wisconsin, Indiana. Okay. I learned everything I know about ACW from you. No, I still took history and electives, and they didn't go over, like battles in the American Civil War stuff. It was all like laws and shit like that, which is boring. When you go over like tactics and stuff like that, that's a lot more interesting. I did get a game a couple years ago that everybody spoke really highly of, and it's actually at an ACW game. I know, unbelievable, right? I didn't keep it though because I didn't feel like it played anything like, even remotely, like a real battle from the American Civil War, and that was called, I think it was called Ultimate General American Civil War or something like that. It actually looked good, but it was real time, and it was almost like you're playing Age of Empires without all the building stuff. It just didn't seem like it was even remotely. like an American Civil War battle. And if you're going to play a war game and not learn about the period, I'm not really interested. 6th Pennsylvania was not part of their brigade, but they carried a green flag of Erin as well. Oh boy, how do you say that? Merrick's Irish Brigade had the green flag of Erin instead of the blue state flags, which were dark blue. That's got to be a cool unit to do. Kind of cool to have a green flag. The lip sync on the video is a bit off. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I don't know, it's plugged directly to the computer. Here. And I don't have to look at my lips. You're welcome. It's pronounced Mar. Mars Irish Brigade. They had the extra money for all the extra consonants, but too lazy to pronounce them all. Got it. Of course, it looks a little glossy because it's wet. Yeah, it looks the part. Just a little bit of color without being like, you know? Doesn't need to poke your eye out. Now, it looks like the spackler didn't do a very good job on this door. That's why they teach you coloring in a kindergarten, so you can stay in between the lines. Looks like he's got the little doggy door for the mail there. Off topic, get a small tornado here in a county a couple days ago. Weather data could be just as bad. Oh man. Utah's not known for that. Right? You guys aren't known for tornadoes. I've had many dreams about tornadoes. I guess technically they'd be, nightmares. I don't know why. It just seems like it's a recurring thing. You know, recurring, like I've had 10 of them my whole life. You know. Maybe they happen more often than that, but that's only ones you can seem to remember. They started to scare everybody with the tornadoes already. With the hurricanes, I don't know. I don't pay attention to it. I don't find out until they're like already on the way. I did look at the news the other day, and they were already scaring people with, oh, there's another virus. Not happy unless to get people worried about it or something all the time. Purveyors of problems. Had nightmares, tornadoes. After I saw one for real, I lost my fear and got fascinated. That's the way I feel about axe murderers. Huh? Say what? Tropical store in Arlene, not coming near me. Yeah, it just messes stuff up at work. People can't make a decision whether they want something or not. I got to make decisions for them. No, we're not going to run stuff on that day. It's too dangerous. Last year was particularly disruptive. Particularly disruptive. Arlene, that's a mighty sounding name. What's the silliest name for a storm you guys recall? Like, what's a silly name for a storm that just doesn't sound like it would be more than a wet fart? Switching to your computer. Okay. Oh, you must have been on your phone. The pocket computer. Gertrude, yeah, it sounds like it could be a broad-shouldered German lady. So you know the way they name storms. I don't know if it's, at least hurricanes is it's one male, one female name. How long before you've got to do like before they feel like they've got to do non-gendered names for storms? They all be named Tracy and Stacy and Pat. Don't be surprised if it happens. Herbert, not a mighty name. Herbie. Weekend at Herbie's. Yeah, not exactly scary, is it? Sandy. Yeah, that's a silly ass name, isn't it? That's not as weird as having a hurricane up there as when you guys get, I don't know if you got it in New York City, but when the Northeast, Maryland got freaking earthquakes, that's messed up. That's really messed up. I'm not a fan of earthquake things. You can't see those things coming. I'm glad we don't have those here. I know, they could happen anywhere. Well, I've lived in Florida almost my whole life, and I've never heard of one. Not my idea of a good time. I live in Tokyo. I felt it like almost daily. I'm out. I do not want to deal with that. Just imagine like in a subway. Hell no. Tampa had an earthquake a few years ago. I didn't hear about it. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but guess I'm not going to move there. That's horrible. There was a story that came on my news feed earlier this week, and was probably like Wednesday or something like that. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm thinking it was Wednesday. It might have even been Tuesday. I had this interview with this lady that went on a cruise, and she was bitching basically because there was bad weather on the cruise ship and the captain didn't inform her. And basically everybody, this was like on YouTube, and everybody, every comment went something along the lines of, he was out there saving your ass, lady, or, you know, you need some, I mean, everybody just crucified this woman. I thought it was very unique because everybody was basically of the same mindset. You know, I don't know if you thought she was going to, you know, sue the cruise company or whatever because of Mother Nature, but we don't go on summer cruises, and I also don't go on Carnival. But I mean, that could happen on any cruise line, but man, everybody just roasted this lady. I've been on a cruise ship in kind of heavy seas. I mean, it was like 20, we were going into like 20 knot winds at 20 knots. It was like a tropical storm on the deck. Actually kind of cool, you know. We had one here many years ago. House shaking woke me up. Wifey totally oblivious to it. In England? Wow. When they started fracking here, we supposedly had minor earthquakes. Never noticed a thing, not above my dog's farts and snoring anyways. Fracking. I don't know anything about that. I really don't. You guys get most of your oil from offshore? I would hope so. I mean, it is called British frickin' petroleum. I guess fracking is gas. Fracking. Cut out the fracking. Considering going for a walk, since it's 70 out, but the sky is getting really dark, so knowing my luck, it gets started and then it will storm. You need to go out for a walk so you can get some of that rain that you haven't gotten. There you go. You regularly have minor earthquakes, 1 to 3 magnitude in the UK. Wow, news to me. Hope they're not doing any damage. All right, see how much better that looks now. Again, the color you guys are seeing isn't exactly what I see. Just, you guys see a little bit more washed out than I do. Careful. The Just Stop Oil protesters might show up on the stream and throw orange dust everywhere. There's so much of that I need to look up. North Sea oil is light crude and is mostly exported. We have to import most of our heavy crude. Okay. Just stop oil protesters. If you don't like oil, then ride a freaking bike. You know. I had to ride a bike as my main form of transportation into my mid-20s. So yeah, I'm not doing that again. Yeah, it's a slow process. It's a slow process, but we'll get there. You know, it's not that much of a problem because, you know, it's just going to take a while. You know, slow build up. I'd go ballistic if someone glued themselves to his cutting mat. Super glue with the long applicators for when I tackle the Scharnhorst massive photo etch. Yeah. I didn't even pay for this thing. And the thing is, it's not that I'm cheap. I've just, I've been poor before. And luckily it's been a long time ago. But it scars you. You know, it scars you and you realize, man, I gotta take care of stuff or I may not get another one of these. So these cutting mats are, you know, they're too expensive to just cut up. And then I don't want to look at them and all cut up. So you take care of it, you know. I guess the other alternative is have daddy buy everything for you your whole life and then you don't know how to cope without it. It's probably worse. It's almost cobblestone time. Almost. Let's see what we got. You know what? I'm going to do the floor before I do cobblestones. Even if I had an endless supply of money, I would still bargain hunt on everything I get. Well, not everything, but it's something you should consider. You know? It feels good to do a smart buy on something. You know? You know, I'll go to stores and I'm not looking for something, but then you'll find something on sale and like, I'm not leaving that for $8. You know? I don't like second guess like, oh man, I shouldn't have bought that. You know? I mean, everybody's had money issues unless your parents just gave you everything you wanted. Everybody's had an allowance or not had one. Whoa, Nelly. Well, in that case, let's use a bigger brush. Oh, man. Well, one that's has some discipline to it, not just one that's all over the place. What do we got down here? We're going to use up most of the stuff anyway, so. I need something bigger than that. How about this one? Only time I regret trying to bargain hunt was when I had a shot to get a 135th TACOM Mark I female World War I tank for $45. Tried to negotiate it down about $10. Someone bought the sucker from under. Where'd you negotiate it? Like at a flea market or something? Hopefully not. Hopefully not at a store. Speaking of negotiating, I'm not looking forward when it's time to, in about a year when we got to do something with the cars when our leases is up. I am not looking forward to that one bit. eBay, okay. I'm not looking forward to the lack of inventory, lack of consumer. You know, the consumer gets bent so much all the time. Now, and a lot of people don't realize how good we had it. Interest rates, I have no idea what car interest rates are. I don't want to know. Maybe I'll get lit and then I'll do it. It won't be as painful. Fortunately, I have a vehicle that I like, so if there isn't anything else out there, I'll just keep what I have. Glad it's not one of the other ones that I'm like, okay, well, I want to get something different, and I just like holding all the cards so you can make a smart decision. But that's going to happen in a year, and I'm not really looking forward to it. Lack of vehicles in this country that I'm interested in. You know, not only is everything pretty much automatic, but they're all a lot of electric stuff, and I'm not interested in any of those. Got to run some errands. Okay, man, be good. See you in the morning. What color am I gonna paint the steps? I have no clue, my man. I have no clue, but it's probably going to be the last thing I do. I guess I probably should make them wooden, don't you think? Should probably make them like a light wood color. What do you think? What's your thoughts on it? I've actually put no thought into it. Think I should make them wooden? All right, we're gonna have to. All right, yeah, it's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. This black is too powerful, too strong. What glasses do I have on? Oh, the powerful readers? Okay. Yeah, it's probably the ones I need to have on. Man, this black is just overpowering. All right, we're going to rinse your ass. Yeah, I think wood is probably the way to go. Am I going to run into problems with somebody who's a step specialist? I need to make steps in the 1940s like that. A nerd burglar carpenter. I'm going to come in and detail this a little bit better, but let the big brush do some of the heavy lifting here. Yeah, I added some brown to it, so it's not completely black. So, this is what we want. All right. All right, Tony. Stop clipping things on the way down. Nothing worse than being a klutz, and I'm not one of those yet. Pretty sure steps inside homes are usually always wooden. Okay. What if I cover it in carpet? Yeah, that wouldn't be appropriate. And then we'll come in with a lighter color and detail that out. $130 years old. That's old as shit, man. We can't have a house 130 years old in Florida. It'd be older than the state. Oh man, I didn't do the trim on the windows up here at the top level. Well, we can do that separately. It's not like I'm going to forget what color I used. Not like that's likely to happen. Whoops, here we go. Severe storm alert for my area. Thankfully, I park in a garage. I hate hail. I've never encountered it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with that either. Clear skies here. We could use some rain, though. I'm not going to lie to you. You know what I don't mess with is lightning. I'm absolutely terrified of it. I've got alligators, terrorists. Well, I don't want to be a terrorist on a plane, but I mean, lightning is, you can't beat lightning. You can't take out lightning before it takes you out. You come in for the pain, or you come in for the dialogue. Hopefully it's the dialogue. This is just kind of like, I'm working on something, and hopefully you're working on something too. We'll get through it together. All right, we're going to do these steps wood and Nordic. If they look like shit, it's going to be your fault. Blame it on Rick. I'm sure he's here. Lurky Lurkelstein. Probably grind into a video game. Listen to the comments. Better than grinding to this. I mean, if that's what you're into, that's cool. I mean, at least wait till you have Mitch's feet on. The sad thing is, I probably do have a viewer that's what they miss the most is Mitch's feet. Hopefully it's not somebody that's on right now. Wasn't able to paint last night. I was kind of on call with the daughter. So I did play some Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and it's disappointing. It could be so much funnier than it is. It's not even amusing. It's not even funny, which is kind of weird because, you know, her character is very amusing in the regular game, but it's kind of a missed opportunity. I didn't pay full price for it. I got a pretty good deal on it. So okay, well that looks good. We're gonna bring these stairs up in color, but that looks pretty good right there. I miss DBA videos of you and Mitch and the funny banter that happens between you. Well, there'll be other games that we'll do. It just won't be DBA. Get him to film DBA videos. I won't even play him anymore. And it's nothing against the author. I'm just like, there's just so many problems that just keep coming up. There's no way I could make it better. With Lion Rampant, absolutely. If something's stupid, it's just going to be, you know, just kind of a... just an inspiration for the rules. Something doesn't make sense, we're going to change it. Well, then you're not really playing the rules. Hey, I bought them. I can do whatever the hell I want with them. Now, somebody was said it was almost like the rules are a good construction kit or a guide. I agree. I think there's a lot of different things you could do with them. You know, I don't plan on playing in a tournament, so I don't care if we house rule everything. Because we're not going to encounter other people to play a different way. Okay, that's looking a little better now. And we're going to have lighter colors in here, but we're going to individually paint that stuff. Was Scott or Luke filming the games at one point? No. No. In my group, the only person that has put videos up is myself. And I'm not very technology savvy. It's not that, you know, I'm stupid or anything. It's just that, you know, I'll learn how to do something, and if technology changes and I have to redo it, I'm pretty much not interested in spending a whole lot of time trying to refigure stuff out. Like every time I bought a computer, and it's happened I think 3 or 4 times for myself, I've got to relearn like all what the specs mean and what I'm looking for and all that stuff, because I just don't do that for a living. I'm not really in the know of all that technology and stuff. And so some programs just should be easy to use, and they're not. You know, they go out of their way to, you know. Feel like the tournament playing any game just ruins the game. Well, DBA is the only game I played for tournaments, and the tournament itself didn't ruin the game. The thing that ruins games more than tournaments is supplying everything for everybody and people destroying your shit. Or walking away with it, or, you know. Luckily, I haven't had anybody walk away with my DBA shit. That'd be a problem. But, you know, the thing is I keep doing that. I keep doing that stuff. I'll never get to do World War II stuff. I have a limited amount of energy / time. I'm not willing to rush things. I'm not going to be like, oh, I want to do Gaslands. All right, well, I got to dipshit everything. I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm going to do things to the best of my ability, or I'm not going to do them at all. That's just the way I am. Hey, color me different. This is not satisfying if I don't do the best I can with it. It defeats the purpose. Oh, this is a handicap accessible door. This is a big one. No, as a matter of fact, Scott has painted before, but not in many, many years. Not since he's been in Florida, or not DBA stuff anyways. And I actually haven't seen Scott in a couple months. Maybe even longer than that. But he used to game every day of the week just with different groups of people. So he says. So I don't know that I want to play with that many groups of people. There's some strange folks out there. One of the stores that I think he games at, there's some real freak shows there. And I said, I don't have a problem with people being nerdy. I have a problem with people being, dirty. Or if they're just downright strange. Revolution Games running 50% off, tempting, very pickup, Poland Defiant, and Death of an Army. Wipers. I wish they made more of those games on computer. Just so you can't play them wrong. You learn by playing. Just reading stuff, I just don't have it in me anymore. It's not that I don't want to play by the rules. It's like, man, it just feels like shit when you get things wrong. Gatekeeping in our hobbies is needed. Wargaming and tabletop RPG should not have open door policy. These things need to be played with the right people, otherwise it sucks. Gatekeeping. Yeah. Yeah. Even if they're not weird, a lot of people just have the wrong attitude. Sore winners or sore losers, both of them. They're both terrible. Okay, what of this is going to be shown and what is not? Because I don't need to put extra effort in things that aren't important. This is going to sit like this. Okay. So there's no point in painting that edge or this one. Just this opening is the only thing it needs. All right, cool. I was amazed there were no smells, bellies hanging out, or general strange behavior when I went to the game store the other day. I'm going to play at playing, set up a game, run through the turns so I start getting the game, and then I'll set up a battle again, go through it knowing how to play. If I did that, I just would paint less. It's going to cut into my painting time. You do want me to play this eventually and film it, right? Let somebody else do it. Let somebody else do it that doesn't paint. All right, let's get this level to the same level that is. It looks like there's like a tarp or something here. Probably paint that something like that. All right. So I'm planning on playing Line Rampant with the DBA armies I have. I don't have any plans to paint more for the time being. You can't play against me. I'm the GM. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's going to be just like a role-playing game. So, I got to do a run-through so I know what the hell I'm talking about, so it runs smooth. And, you're just going to have to trust me. None of these. Well, let me see what you got here. Now, I'm not running this to be put on trial. Again, painting is therapeutic. Arguing about rules is not. Maybe some people do that. Well, you should get your bar. Go and pass the bar. But I think the house is. I think this is the step one to get something that will work, because I can do this and maybe a couple sets of trees and we're ready to roll. It's the same with the old store I went to. Did manage to crack one chap a little with a naval game. Another one wants to play Lion Rampant, so hopefully gain some converts. Looking forward to knocking out some Soviet stuff with Laggert. Yeah, that's an interesting vehicle. That's an interesting vehicle. Autocannon. There's a article in one of the magazines that I bought digitally that has some recon scenarios, and they're pretty interesting. And they're one of those that, you can win the scenario and not have any action type of thing. Some things are meant to avoid combat. Yeah. It's almost like you got to find people that you like to play with first, and then find a game for them, not the other way around. Because some people are just no fun to be around. Doesn't matter if they want. It doesn't matter if they're willing to play your favorite game. I mean, unless you don't mind dealing with that stuff. I think it's silly to have to put up with those kind of attitudes. We have an earthquake, or somebody wants to come in. All right. That's what happens when you're painting with other people in the house. You never know when you get called off for something. Let's, I know we just have the basic color here, but let's kind of get a little bit of an idea of what we're dealing with here. We're not going to get to the cobblestone today. We're going to get to the cobble. We'll tackle the cobble. We'll cobble the cobblestone in the morning. Now give me a few times to decide what color I'm going to use as the base. It's probably a dark brown again. Maybe one that has a little bit of gray in it. Very little. We got to put these in the right order. It's not going to have the desired effect. That's not the right order. Yeah, it looks like shit right now, but it's getting there. It's so washed out looking on the screen for you guys. I wonder if this thing resets. I bet it resets every single time I start it up. And it's... That alone is already better. Let's see if that's more like what I'm seeing. That's more of what I'm seeing. That's better. But we got more dry brush that's going to go on this. See how you still have some black that comes in through the back here, through the color. It's all that's going to get straightened out a little bit more. I don't know that I'm going to need to do any washing for dark colors. It's looking all right. This light is just so damn powerful with it being right on top of it. Which is great for painting, but doesn't necessarily translate correctly into video. Let's go ahead and do the parts around the windows here at the top level here. Well, the inside of the fireplace is painted. It doesn't need to be any darker. Alright. Should be able to do with the same colors that we have here. There's one guy that used to go to the game store near here that would be angry if he didn't win. He says he does not have fun unless he wins every game he plays. Needless to say, I enjoyed curb stomping him in every game I played with him. Yep. Best wishes for that fucker. There's some people that get angry even when they win. And that's not the game. That's the asshole that's always that same way every other time. It's a problem with playing at a store. Sometimes you're stuck with playing with whoever shows up. And a lot of people that show up, you don't want to have anything to do with it. You know? And it's got nothing to do with whether or not they're of a certain demographic or anything. It's just like, dude, you just gotta be a decent human being. I was at a show one time, and I was playing a game with a buddy of mine. He ended up being on the other side. There's one guy who came in here and said, only way I'm going to play is if I play those King Tiger tanks. So he had to take the King Tiger tanks, or he wasn't going to play. I'm playing American, so I don't give a shit. But this guy's one of these know-it-all guys that doesn't know anything, you know. all mouth and no substance. Well, the GM got tired of listening to him and gave him the King Tiger tanks to do. He ended up doing something suicidal with them. This is like a Kampfgruppe Piper type of scenario. He ended up doing something suicidal with the tanks. They got hosed, and halfway through a 4-hour session, he's like, well, I gotta leave. I gotta go pick up my son. So he basically just went on, he did, he's like, I'm gonna have my way or I'm not gonna play. Decided to play and ended up ruining the scenario for everybody on his team. Like, you're an asshole, you know? There's one person I play with, and I'm not going to mention any names, but they don't like to play by, what do they call it? What does he call it? Command by committee. I do. When you have multiple people on one side, I don't want to cogitate about it for a long time, but I like getting people's input. It's part of the social aspect. You don't get that when you're playing DBA. You do whatever the hell you want. So if you have multiple people on a side, that's a chance to have an interaction and a discourse, friendly, of course, with other people. And it's not like we have arguments about it. This particular player doesn't like that. Well, I do, because that's the part and that's the part that's fun about having a multiplayer game, and you can root for the other guy. Come on, man, roll better, and that kind of stuff. If it's do whatever the hell you want, then it's not really a multiplayer game, is it? Now, it's different if you're playing against people that want to control you. Like, I'm going to command this infantry regiment, and you got other guys telling you what to do. That's not cool. But it's kind of cool to get other people's input. I enjoy that anyways, Now, if you do it in such a way that it really drags the game out, that's bad too, but... Command by committee. That makes it sound dirty. But what I don't like is, you start a game, okay, why don't the other side leave the table? And then you're sitting there discussing these elaborate plans that probably aren't going to go to fruition. Nothing's going to come to fruition in these elaborate battle plans, and you just ate up 30 minutes of the time while the other teams just sit around like wondering why they didn't play something different. Yeah, that I don't care for. But just a quick, hey, you think I should do this? A, B, or C? Just get people's input. I enjoy it. No plan ever survives contact with an enemy. Yeah, don't back yourself into a corner where you've got to do something that's already pre-planned. I'm not a very good chess player, but I think I'm pretty good at reacting on the fly to things that happen. One of my sayings I use at work is, with inflexibility comes disappointment. I got to have this on this day. This is the day I want it. I want this many, and I can't take it any day other than this day. Well, you're going to be fucking disappointed, dude. You need to be a little bit more flexible. Sometimes things can't happen exactly how you want them to because you waited till the last minute. You like how Little Wars does their command by committee. I haven't really noticed it. I don't like how edited their stuff is. I don't really know what's really going on. They do have really good quality stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little too professional. It's almost like a reality show, and it's this whole they're playing a battle and then they'll go off to somebody else, and other shows do this. Well, and they'll have an interview, like it'll just be one person. Well, I thought we were going to do this, but this didn't work on. And you're just wondering, like, I know they didn't stop the battle and do this, so is it Monday night quarterbacking or I'm just I'm not a fan of that heavily edited stuff. I feel like I'm being fooled, but they do have good content, and they do have much better quality than I'm ever going to have. I just, you know, I just don't want to put the kind of effort in that. You know, if I did that kind of effort, it probably wouldn't be as good, and I wouldn't be able to do any painting. And that's not what I'm about. I'm not a video guy. And whoever's editing their stuff, they spend a lot of time editing it. It takes time, man. It takes a lot of time. We got some brickwork here and here that we're going to need to come back and do that. I didn't notice that when we do it. The interesting Chosin Reservoir game recently. I didn't watch that episode. You know why? The subject matter. I just don't care about this Korean War. I'm sorry. I can't be into everything. Might have to check it out since you mentioned it, though. Might have to check that out. I think Korean War, and the first thing I think of is what those M46 Pattons with the big tiger face on them. You know what I'm talking about. Paint a scary tiger on there and scare your enemy. Boo. Good, you need the rain, right? I hate watering my grass. And I don't do it very often. Sometimes it's like, you gotta do it or you're not gonna be left with any. That's just money wasted. Want to go trick or treating and needed to dress up their tanks. The only post-war tank that I really think is fascinating is the M103s. I think the M10, the U.S. tank, the M103s are just freaking cool looking. Cool looking. Big old bastards. All right, I gotta remember what the hell I used for the. Let's see if I can discern what I used for the grout color. I think I used that sandstone. Yeah, looks like it. All right. Let's go ahead and put this sandstone on it, and we're going to call it this session a wrap. Crap container that makes a mess every time you use it. just the grout parts. Okay, man, thanks for stopping by. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I can bore you in the morning and talk you into going to sleep. If you if you need that happen to you, hopefully not. Hopefully you can sleep through the night. And we'll pick this up in the morning. But like I said, this is going to be like a month-long project. It's just going to take. It's going to look really cool when I'm done, and it's not going to happen, by just being done with it. I probably am going to give this a wash, to be honest with you. Give some kind of depth to these tiles. And probably a brown wash, honestly, because it adds another little color on there. If you had black, I'm just adding another color that was already there to begin with. So, but yeah. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks. Just a little over 2.5 hours, and we'll see you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.